Right now, Minneapolis is in chaos. Streets that should be safe for families, small businesses, and ordinary citizens are instead filled with fear, destruction, and unrest. This is not merely a local problem, it is a national warning. The law is being challenged openly, and the very institutions meant to protect the Americans are under attack. Citizens are living in uncertainty while agitators exploit the systems, testing how far each can push before consequences arrive. Let me be clear, the government must not back down, and not even for a fraction of an inch. Law enforcement must act decisively with the full authority and support of the federal government, and order must be restored immediately. The Minneapolis chaos, the violence we are seeing, um, did not happen by accident, and it is the results of years of tolerance for the disorder and the weak enforcement of policies that have allowed lawlessness to fester. Streets are disrupted, businesses destroyed, and residents are left defenseless, while a small but vocal minority seeks to impose their own agenda or law enforcement. The law enforcement officers are on the front lines facing hostile threats and the incredible pressure to restrain themselves unless they continue to put their lives on the line and to protect the innocents. To those Americans who think violence or destruction is a form of protest, step back, and you're not fighting justice, you're undermining, you are targeting the very people that enforce the law, who protect society, and who ensure that the freedoms, property, and safety exists in this world. If you have a grievance, there is a proper target: the lawmakers who create the policies, the legislators who pass the laws, and not the officers or the agents, and not the individuals tasked with enforcing the rules. The role of the federal government in Minneapolis is a test, and the federal government must not fail. History has shown that when lawlessness is met with hesitation, it spreads. When governments wavers, disorders grows, sending the federal support backing local police, making arrests, and ensuring justice is enforced are not acts of overreach. They are acts of responsibilities they need to be carried out. Every city in the country and every community must understand the law enforcement has the authority and the backing and the expectation to maintain order. Chaos cannot be tolerated anywhere, because whatever it is tolerated, it will grow, as we've seen there in Minneapolis. Illegal immigration as a national security issue, while the media focuses on Minneapolis, the larger threat is often overlooked. Illegal immigration individuals in this country unlawfully put an additional strain on our law enforcement and public services in the communities already under pressure. It is a threat to safety of our fairness and the integrity of our laws of enforcement of immigration laws that must be unwavering, nationwide, and absolute. Cities cannot pick and choose where the rules apply. Every community deserves a certainty that the laws will be upheld and that those who enter or remain illegally will be held accountable. This is not politics, it is a public safety, it is order, it is justice. American agitators must back off. Let me be clear to those Americans who are part of these protests: your anger does not give you the right to attack the law, to obstruct law enforcement, or to destroy the property and peace of your neighbors. If you feel wronged, there is a proper way or an avenue that it can appeal to your representatives. Petition the government. Participate in lawful civil discourse. Target those who make laws, not those who enforce them. Attacking law enforcement is not a protest, it is chaos, and it will not be tolerated, as we've seen that it has been here in the past. The government will not yield, and the lines has been drawn, and anyone who steps over it will face consequences moving forward. Thy priorities are simple, and there is no room for compromise. First, you need to restore order in Minneapolis and support the officers. the federal response and make it clear that lawlessness has no place in any community. Second, the enforcement immigration and public safety laws consistently nationwide, and there will be no expectations or no selective enforcement and turning a blind eye. Third, they need to communicate with the clarity and the authority that law enforcement will do its job and that the government will back it fully, and the citizens who break the law, whether by destroying property or assaulting officers or remaining illegal, will be held accountable. The message must be heard loud and clear. Disorder will not win. So, kind of like a call to action, Minneapolis is a warning, but it is also an opportunity. This is a moment for leadership to have the courage and unwavering action. Law enforcement must act without hesitation. The federal government must support them without compromise. And the citizens who wish to protest must do so lawfully, targeting the proper authorities. Those who create the laws note those who enforce them. Chaos is not invitable and disorder is not permanent. But only if we act decisively can the borders be secured. Cities can be safe and the communities can thrive, but only if the government and the law enforcement and the people stand together in defense of the law and order. Closing the Minneapolis is more than a headline, it is a lesson. When laws are ignored and the enforcement is challenged, chaos spreads. Americans deserve safety and security and a government willing to act decisively. The agitators must understand that their actions have consequences. Law enforcement is not the enemy, and the lawlessness, if the government steps back even slightly, the fabric of our society will unravel. The choice to me is clear. The responsibility is ours. Restore order, enforce the law, and protect the people of Minneapolis, which is the wake-up call, and it is the time for decisive action, both nationwide and in underlying and without compromise. Thank you, and have a good day.